Hey there, how's it going? Welcome back to another race report here on Kai City RC. This time it's the Tamiya TT-02B race report. This is a new race series that started at Carnosa RC Park. Regular viewers to the channel will know that we've just finished up this season's DT-02, DT-03 and the Grasshopper race series. So starting in December, this was the first in the TT-02B race series. I'll talk briefly about the regulations for this one. So it's open to any TT-02B chassis, so things like Neo Scorcher, Plasma Edge, etc. The regulations are you've got to use the kit tires, the kit motor and the kit spur gear. After that, pretty much anything goes. Power source is the usual, an Impax or 2S LiPo. As this is the first race in what I imagine will be a new series, then pretty much everybody was running similar setups. A couple of people changed body shells, but for the most part all the buggies were pretty much evenly matched. Most people opt to do the same mods, simple things like obviously bearings, depending on what kit you got, universals, steering upgrades mostly. The stock steering on the TT-02B has got a lot of slop in it. Most people did upgrade the shock towers because again they're quite flexible in stock form, and damper upgrades. People were running very similar setups, which made for interesting racing. Now the race itself was once again using Team Chonmage deathmatch style rules. So if you're not familiar, it basically means there are no marshals. If you crash, flip over or become immobile for whatever reason, that's it. That's where you remain until the end of the race. If however you're flipped over and then someone crashes into you and right sides you so that you can continue the race, you can do so, and you're called basically a zombie at that point. You get points for finishing the race and more points for finishing first, second, etc. No points if you don't finish the race though, so it makes for interesting racing because it's very unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen, you never know who's going to win. Me personally, I did pretty well. Qualifying was 5 races of 5 laps each. I managed to do really well in the qualifying. Unfortunately the same couldn't be said for the finals, so I got put into the A main with a lot of very skilled, very fast drivers, and unfortunately my luck took a turn for the worst. In the first race of the A main, about 3rd lap, a collision saw me hit the barrier at the far side of the circuit, and then in my haste to kind of recover from that, I crashed into the barrier again, and immediately I noticed there was something wrong with my TT-02B. It wouldn't drive straight and it wouldn't corner. That persisted for about a lap, and then once I hit the bank at the far side, it just, for no apparent reason, it just flipped and rolled, and that put an end to that race. Now between races you don't have any time to kind of like do any maintenance or repairs. It's one race finishes and the next race starts, and so when I went over to the buggy I noticed the shock had popped off. I tried to put it back on and realized that the crash had actually split the plastic on the rod end, the bottom of the front damper, and so I could put the damper back on but it wouldn't sit on the ball stud. I had to basically wedge it in between the ball stud and the lower suspension arm in the kind of like narrower part, so I could continue the race, and that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to retire from the race, but I knew that basically the front shock was just kind of like wedged in position, and I knew that if I had any more frontal impacts or if I pushed it too hard in any jumps, it just would loose. And so I ended up finishing the A main, basically just taking my time, taking it steady, avoiding collisions at all costs, and that cost me, precious time. And so at the end of the day to be honest, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I had a good time, I enjoyed myself. Racing is always unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. Crashes are, part and parcel of the game. So unfortunately I didn't get a lot of very good footage. My haste to do things, I forgot to press record during qualifying, so there's no real qualifying. I did grab some iPhone footage. Most of the footage you're seeing on screen now is from the A main. Not a great camera angle, I'm sorry, my apologies. I'll try and do better next time, but I do hope that it gives you an idea of the kind of racing we're doing at Carnosa RC Park. It's a lot of fun, and even though it's lower spec buggies, TT-02B, Grasshoppers, DT-02s, etc. It's so much fun. It really does prove that you don't need to spend huge amounts of money and run high end to have a great time at an RC circuit. Well, that's it from me. Hopefully have some more videos out in the future. Until then, happy RCing, and I'll catch you in the next one.